and I were very happy. Try the ability to cut everything, Dad. Dr. Aaron picked up the military knife he used to chop zombies and swung it down at the table. The table was instantly cut in half like a piece of paper. Dad, cut me. Try cutting me. Ashley excitedly jumped in front of her father, asking him to slice her up. Dr. Aaron was speechless. Although he had heard about the Overpowered fruit's ability from his daughter, he still found the request to be cut strange and inappropriate. That's not a good idea. My control isn't smooth yet. What if I hurt you? Ashley wouldn't listen, but no matter how much she pleaded, Dr. Aaron refused to cut her. He thought they should go to other places to try and find more devil fruits. We'll be able to dominate. Ashley's suggestion moved me. My sister was right. With her ability, it would be a waste to just develop in Bianchang. Right now, many devil fruits hadn't been discovered yet, or their users had died and the fruits had respawned, but hadn't been taken by others. If I took this opportunity and used Ashley's devil fruit ability to collect more fruits, not only could I increase the strength of my relatives, but it would also be an extremely valuable resource in the future. When everyone got used to the collapse and had found their footing in the apocalypse, major factions would appear one after another. Although I was strong, I didn't yet have the power to sweep through the world. These fruits could be used for trade to get what I needed most, or to win over powerful people and make them my subordinates. But I still wasn't at ease about my family's safety. Seeing my worry, my father said, "Austin, don't worry. I have a devil fruit ability now, and with Miss Liu and Mr. Meng helping, we'll be fine. I'll protect your mother well." My mother also agreed. "Your father is right. You kids go and do what you need to do. With what you've already helped us with, we can survive in these times." Even Jade Liu and Marcus Meng successively promised, "Boss, rest assured. I will take good care of your parents." I was quite moved. It seemed I hadn't taken these two in for nothing. "Then I'll leave my parents to you too. I'll transfer another 400 points to each of you so you can quickly increase your strength." Since my sister had proposed it, and it was approved, it had to be implemented as soon as possible. Then, through the divine dimension, I spent points to create a chat group. I pulled my parents, sister, Marcus, and Jade into the group. This way, even if I left, I could contact my family at any time and keep up with their situation. After settling everything, I took Ashley and left the house, heading for the large truck parked outside, towards the city's outskirts. Where to go? I left the problem of direction to Ashley. "You're the horde rat. Even if you can't sense any treasures, your intuition should be useful, right?" Ashley thought it made sense. "Then let's go to the provincial capital to the west. It's more populous there, so the chance of devil fruits appearing should be higher." Following the horde rat's intuition, I drove west. Along the way, we would occasionally get out of the car to fight, and after exhausting our stamina, we would return to the truck to cultivate while on the road. But a large truck was ultimately inconvenient. I still felt I needed an off-road vehicle. After entering the provincial capital, we continued straight west. Sure enough, the number of zombies here was 100 times more than in Bianchang, and the military was organizing a cleanup. The sound of gunfire filled the air, and zombie corpses exploded everywhere. But unless their heads were blown off, they still had the ability to move. And my large truck was also stopped by the military. There's a military operation ahead, but the soldier who stopped us didn't ask us to leave immediately. He registered us and pointed us in a direction. There was a shelter set up overnight there, surrounded by our military encampment. It's absolutely safe, and there's a regular supply of food and water. The country was indeed trying its best to stop this disaster. But unfortunately, this disaster was not something human civilization could resist. I didn't follow the soldier's direction to the shelter, but turned the car around and chose to take a detour. A military officer saw the large truck leaving, but didn't come forward to persuade us. As they say, good advice is hard to give to those who are determined to die. They didn't have the energy to manage so many things now. We drove back to the intersection from before, went north for about 7 or 8 kilometers, and then continued west, without the military's encirclement. Zombies were still rampant everywhere. Occasionally, I still saw people relying on buildings to fight zombies. After using all sorts of methods to kill a zombie, they would immediately retreat into the house. After resting, they would come out again to find opportunities to kill more. Everyone was trying to survive in this graveyard. Suddenly, my eyes lit up. Although I hadn't found a devil fruit, I had found something much better. In front of a luxurious villa, a Dongfeng warrior was parked. Although this car was said to be an off-road vehicle, it was more like a civilian armored car. Except for the lack of a navigation system and weapons system, it was extremely sturdy. It was my ideal model. I saw a young man leaning against the warrior, having cut a hole in the car door and crawled inside. He stuck a long spear out to stab at the charging zombies. Although it was difficult to hit their heads, he managed to kill a few by slowly grinding them down. I parked the large truck next to this warrior and got out with Ashley. The Dragon Man form was activated. A reinforced and weighted baseball bat became an incredibly sharp weapon. This bat felt great to use. Even though I had enough points to exchange for a sharp blade, I still used this bat. The young man hiding in the car saw a large truck suddenly stop next to him and his heart jumped. Oh my god, the Azure Dragon Big Bro. He immediately recognized me. The classic appearance of the Azure Dragon. Does the Azure Dragon Big Bro want to rob me too? Just as he was thinking, I had already cleared all the zombies in the area and knocked on the armored car's window. The young man in the car carefully opened the door. He knew that if this Azure Dragon Big Shot wanted to, he could easily destroy his car. So it was best to cooperate honestly. The other party was very sensible, so I didn't make things too difficult for him either. Half a tank of diesel from my truck. I want this car of yours. I stated my purpose directly. After all, after changing cars, the truck wouldn't be able to run anymore. So I might as well use it for a trade, and I couldn't carry all the diesel. The young man's mouth twitched. He wasn't an idiot and quickly understood my intention was to get something for nothing. Big Shot. I have no demands. I just ask that you let me come with you. I'll give you this car. After nearly 2 days of survival in the apocalypse, he had a deep understanding of its terror. Now that there was a big thigh to hug, why wait? I was instantly speechless. This guy's got some thick skin. I have things to do and can't take you. How about this? 37 points is enough for you to exchange for the 3-color hockey training methods. But the young man still wanted to hug my thigh. Big Shot, please let me come with you. I've studied wilderness survival. I can do a lot of things. He was an apocalypse enthusiast and had even specially ordered this thick civilian armored car and prepared a full set of outdoor survival equipment. I have things to do and can't take you. I can help you clear out the zombies in the villa. With 30 points to exchange for hockey training methods, you can also slowly become stronger on your own. I was determined not to take him. The young man was a little disappointed, but being able to exchange for hockey training methods wasn't bad. I and Ashley led this young man, Leo Lin, into his villa and eliminated his transformed relatives and pet dog. Cultivate your hockey diligently, and you too can become a powerhouse in the apocalypse. As I was about to leave, I encouraged him. Big Bro, my name is Leo Lin. Can you tell me your name, if I want to find you? Where should I look? I had just gotten into the car, preparing to leave, when I heard the young man's words, and was taken aback. So persistent. But telling him wouldn't hurt. If this person really had talent, I could recruit him later. My name is Austinau. I live in Bianchang. If you can walk to Bianchang, I will consider taking you in. Leaving that sentence behind, I started the car and sped away, leaving only Leo Lin muttering to himself, Austinau, walk to Bianchang. I can definitely do it. After I changed cars, our travel speed increased. The sound of gunfire roared in my ears. I drove in the opposite direction of the gunfire. In fact, killing zombies was useless. Even if you beheaded them, these dead zombies would be devoured by other zombies, causing evolution. To completely eliminate zombies, you needed to burn them, completely destroying their bodies. However, when zombie bodies were burned, the moisture accumulated in their bodies would diffuse into the air, increasing the concentration of the Z virus in the air, infecting more people with weaker constitutions. Moreover, the Z virus would be catalyzed under high temperatures and become stronger. It was a dilemma. The only way was to cultivate Haki. Haki was the process of training the body. When the body was trained to its limit, it would not fear the Z virus or zombies. Other methods were just temporary solutions. If your storage space were a little bigger, that would be great. On the road, I grumbled to Ashley. Then we could take all the diesel with us. Now that fuel is limited, the range we can search is also restricted. Ashley sat slumped in the passenger seat, hugging a bag of potato chips. hearing me complain. She shot me a look. HMPH, you think I don't want to? Developing devil fruit abilities isn't that simple. I drove while nagging her. Eat less of that junk food. If you're tired, go to the divine shop and exchange for a piece of sea king meat. It's great for replenishing stamina. While the two of us were bickering, Ashley suddenly had a reaction. She quickly put down the bag of potato chips, sat up straight. Her large ears perked up, and her little nose sniffed a few times. After sensing for a moment, she said to me, in the southwest direction, "I sense a treasure." Hearing this, my spirits lifted. A treasure? I immediately got excited, no longer getting out of the car to kill zombies, but trying to go around them, speeding towards the direction Ashley pointed. When we finally got close to the destination, we found that things were not so simple. This was a factory, and it was surrounded by barbed wire fences. Many small machines and discarded tables and chairs were piled up at the gate to prevent zombies from entering. Behind the obstacles, people were using tools from the factory to make long poles, using them to kill the zombies trying to break through the obstacles. There were still quite a few people walking around in the factory, carefully checking to make sure zombies couldn't crawl in. If a zombie was found climbing the barbed wire fence, someone would immediately take a long pole with a sharp blade welded to it and stab the zombie down. This place had clearly become a temporary safe base. To be able to do this showed that the organizer here was not simple at all. You wait for me in the car. There are quite a few zombies outside. Not suitable for you to practice. I grabbed my baseball bat, opened the car door, and stepped out. I activated my transformation. One swing down still cracked a zombie's skull. Another swing, and its head shattered. The scene completely stunned the workers in the factory, who were guarding behind the obstacles at the gate. Is this kid suicidal? There are so many zombies, and he still dares to get out of the car? At first, the workers thought I was seeking death by fighting zombies alone. But the next second, when they saw the zombie's skull being easily shattered, they all stared with wide eyes. Damn, did I see that wrong? This kid is strong, a group of workers chattered amongst themselves. All the surrounding zombies were attracted to me, but I still hadn't activated my transformation. Because I had now reached the bronze skin realm, my body was already quite good, and with a month of hard training, I had an extremely strong physical foundation. The Haki Genius talent allowed me to directly awaken Haki, and with both passive and active cultivation with double the effect, my Haki was increasing by leaps and bounds. By the second day of the apocalypse, I had reached the bronze skin realm. The so-called bronze skin was not real skin, of course, but training the body to be like bronze and iron, from the outside in. It was the body's first line of defense. When trained to a certain degree of toughness, it could significantly reduce the impact on the body, as well as the recoil force when attacking. This was the body's first transformation in the process of training. Strength, defense, speed, recovery, and other stats were also comprehensively improved. The Azure Dragon Fruit, even if I didn't transform, also provided some physical attributes in my human form. This allowed me, even without using my ability, to easily kill zombies. Moreover, killing zombies without using my ability would increase the difficulty, but in return, my Haki would be strengthened faster. The workers standing on the side watched me with wide eyes. I just swept through the area. Soon, someone realized the key point. His car. I know it. It's a Dongfeng warrior. A light armored vehicle. He could have just driven away from these zombies, but he deliberately stopped right in front of our gate. He definitely has designs on our base. Go tell the boss. Immediately, a worker left to tell their leader about me. Soon, a man with a rather dark complexion, about 30 years old and with a burly figure, came to the gate under the guidance of a worker. He's indeed a master. His face was very serious. The ease with which I killed zombies put immense pressure on him. If this person has ill intentions towards our base, can we resist him? After a full hour, the zombies in front of the factory's north gate were finally cleared by me. Shaking my sore arm, I strode to the factory gate. I want to come in and get something. I went straight to the point and stated my purpose. But old Zhang wasn't easy to fool. What do you want to get? I couldn't just say I wanted to get a devil fruit. It seemed the devil fruit here was hidden in a not-so-obvious place. Otherwise, it would have been eaten by these people long ago. Some vegetables. The moment these words came out, old Zhang became even more certain that I was targeting his base, and wanted to trick him into opening the door to take over. What was that phrase in The Art of War? The plan to destroy a state. Although he was just an ordinary worker, he often read The Art of War. This person wouldn't be able to fool him. We don't have enough to eat ourselves. Go find it somewhere else. I narrowed my eyes. I knew these people wouldn't let me pass easily. What if I insist on going in to get it? The threat was extremely clear. Although I wasn't a good person, I wouldn't casually kill people. I hope these people knew what was good for them. Clearly, they didn't. After being threatened, they even got angry collectively. Fuck, there are so many of us. Come in if you've got the guts. The workers started to get noisy. Old Zhang also remained silent. He wanted to see how I would handle it. At this moment, an invisible aura suddenly spread out. The workers only felt as if they were facing the might of a king. Their hearts were filled with fear. Someone even dropped to their knees with a thud. A few of the most timid ones even fainted. Only old Zhang and a few others who had started to cultivate could still look straight at me. I also felt a strong shock in my heart. It's definitely Conqueror's Haki, a kneeling worker said. Just let him in. Even if we let him be the leader, it's not a disgrace. The workers who had been trying to make things difficult for me just now, after being shaken by the Conqueror's Haki, all turned around and wanted to welcome the new king to take power. After I released my Conqueror's Haki, I had no intention of continuing to negotiate with them. It was a waste of time. The baseball bat in my hand was covered with a layer of black light. I slammed it down with force, and the obstacles that the workers had painstakingly set up were shattered. Old Zhang clenched the weapon in his hand, but ultimately didn't dare to make a move. I narrowed my eyes at him. I had, of course, noticed his little tricks. It's best to be obedient. See if your head is harder than a zombie's. Ashley, come here. Ashley, who had been watching the show from the sidelines, heard my call, immediately took out the key, jumped out of the car, and ran towards me. She sniffed with her cute little nose and led me towards the back of the warehouse. Who are you? A fat middle-aged woman blocked our path. She asked with a fierce expression. Get lost, I snorted coldly. The shrewish woman immediately got angry. You brat, what did you say? You little punk who hasn't even been weaned dares to talk to this old lady like that later. I'll hang you at the gate for the zombies to eat. She glanced at Ashley. Oh, and you brought a beautiful little girl with you. Which club did you get her from? Later. Let the boys in the factory have a feast of fresh meat. I suddenly raised my head, my eyes filled with inviolable majesty. The baseball bat in my hand slammed down behind the woman. Old Wang, who followed us into the cafeteria, was instantly so angry he couldn't hold back. He only saw the young man smash his wife's skull with one swing. The women in the room immediately let out horrified screams. Murder. Old Wang raised the steel knife in his hand. I'll fight you to the death. His forehead creased, his chest filled with rage. Old Zhang saw that he couldn't stop old Wang, stomped his foot, and gritted his teeth. Brothers, charge, our woman has been insulted. We can't let this villain go. I was expressionless. If you insult me, I might not do anything. But if you insult my family, I will definitely make you pay with blood. Ashley, sometimes the human heart is more terrifying than zombies or monsters. Now that you dare to kill zombies, do you dare to kill people? I didn't even turn my head. Just tilted my body slightly, raised the baseball bat, and smashed old Wang's skull. Order has collapsed. Some people have abandoned their humanity. You have to teach them a lesson they'll never forget. I turned to face the charging workers, sternly teaching Ashley. I saw her trembling. She dared to kill zombies, but she still couldn't bring herself to kill people. To survive in this apocalypse, you have to discard all compassion. If others don't harm me, I won't harm them. If they do, my words trailed off. I opened my mouth and spat out a stream of hot breath. The scorching flames shot out more than 10 meters, making the workers outside the window disappear. He's a devil fruit user. The leader, old Zhang, retreated in terror. But I wouldn't give him a chance to escape. I transformed into a dragon and quickly pursued him. Two blasts of heat breath swept through, and all the workers who had run into the cafeteria were taken down. When I returned to Ashley's side, she was still in a daze. The other women were cowering in a corner in fear. Sorry, don't kill me. Their tears and snot flowed freely, their cries echoing throughout the cafeteria and attracting more people. Ashley, kill them all. I coldly pointed at the group of women. The rule of the apocalypse is to cut the weeds and pull out the roots. Once hatred is sown, you must eliminate the problem forever. Ashley clutched the hem of my clothes. After all, she was only a 16-year-old girl and hadn't yet been able to change her mindset from a civilized society to the apocalypse. The ones who insulted you are dead. They are innocent. Please let them go. I spat out another stream of hot breath. The scene was chaotic everywhere. Ashley, this is the apocalypse. A small conflict can lead to a clash, and when there's a clash, it must end with one side suffering casualties. I couldn't help but sigh. My eyes filled with memories of my past life. I used to think that just killing those who had conflicts with me was enough. I thought I was cold enough, but in the end, I lost my life because of a moment of saint-like compassion. Someone once advised me that just killing the enemy was enough. No need to involve their family. But the enemy's child, after becoming strong, frantically sought me out for revenge. Under the arrangement of that couple, I died at the hands of that teenager. In this life, I would rather be called a demon than have a shred of soft-heartedness again. We arrived at the place Ashley had sensed. This was the factory cafeteria's food storage. I smashed it open with one swing. I found a devil fruit stuck under a basket. It was still a type 1, had never seen before. I gave it to Ashley to put in her storage space. Then we left the factory. But as soon as we got to the gate, I saw that my car had been driven away by someone else. Although Ashley had taken the key, there were always masters of lock-picking among the common folk who could do it. I immediately transformed into an Azure Dragon, carried Ashley, and flew into the sky very quickly. I saw my car. The Azure Dragon swooped down, and with just one collision, the car was overturned. I transformed back into a human. Ashley took out the key and opened the car door. I reached in and pulled the worker out. Big bro, please don't kill me. This person was so scared he peed his pants. A foul smell hit me. I frowned and threw him against a large tree by the road. I saw that his brain had ruptured. He was deader than dead. Back in the car, my mischievous sister Ashley was unusually quiet the whole way. Today, she was truly frightened by the decisive methods I used. It was as if I wasn't her real brother. After a long while, she carefully spoke up. Brother, you were so scary just now. I sighed. Ashley, remember, this is the apocalypse now. Besides our family, there's no one in this world who cannot be killed. Suddenly, Ashley blurted out, Brother, were you reborn? Oh no, did I expose something? Why did she suddenly say that? Seeing my surprise, Ashley became even more certain of her guess. You frantically hoarded food before the apocalypse began. And you even made Mom take leave and bring me home. You were so insistent. You must have known something in advance. Moreover, ever since you came home, I've felt that you're strange, as if you're a different person. I think there are only two reasons for this situation. 1. You were reborn. 2. You were possessed. As she spoke, her voice became smaller and smaller. She didn't dare to look at me, afraid that her brother was no longer himself. I was speechless. I reached out and flicked her on the forehead. Ouch, you stinky brother. But after being flicked on the forehead by me in such a familiar way, she, on the contrary, confirmed that the person in front of her was indeed her brother and not possessed. After realizing this, the tension and anxiety in her heart also disappeared. Ashley suddenly asked excitedly, Brother, how did you die in your past life? Was I amazing in my past life? And were Mom and Dad okay? Hearing about the past life, my heart grew heavy again. You all died. Ashley fell silent. I said solemnly, This is truly a sad story, with a serious expression. But in this life, no matter who dares to harm you guys, I will definitely make them pay a heavy price. After leaving the factory, we continued west. When we encountered a group of zombies on the road, we would get out of the car to fight them and train our Haki. I no longer activated my Azure Dragon ability. Ashley still hadn't awakened her Haki power, and she was still very weak. Thanks to the speed boost from the Horde Rat, she could still fight zombies with ease. Just like that, my brother and I headed west for 3 days. During those 3 days, we didn't find any more devil fruits. This made Ashley, who was initially very excited, a little disappointed. She even suspected if there was a problem with her ability. But I told her that this was normal. In my past life, I lived until the second divine period. According to the statistics of a powerful faction, a total of more than 10,000 different ability users had appeared. Although this number was much more than the less than 100 devil fruits in the manga, it was actually much more. But if you averaged it over the nearly 10 billion people in the world, it became too small. Only about 1 in 1 million. The fact that I could continuously get 5 devil fruits in the past few days was already incredibly difficult. Brother, let's go in that direction. Ashley pointed to a small road next to a fork and said to me. I looked at the map in surprise. That place led deep into the mountains. This place was already on the outskirts of Chengdu, surrounded by mountains. If we ran up the mountains, there would be fewer zombies. In my past life, many people had run deep. Although they avoided the zombie tide, they also lost the opportunity to become stronger and eventually died tragically in the mountains. I feel there will be good stuff there. Ashley herself wasn't very sure. After all, intuition was too mysterious a thing. But I trusted her very much and immediately drove into the mountains. Without zombies blocking the road, the car ran at full speed. Ashley propped her little feet up, dangling them as she ate snacks and scrolled through videos and posts in the divine dimension. Haha, that's hilarious. Suddenly, this girl started laughing like a lunatic. I was wondering what was so funny when she exited the divine dimension and laughing loudly. Shared the gossip she had just seen with me. Brother, I just saw a post. Someone didn't get a devil fruit and is complaining about it. Hearing this, I was puzzled. What's so funny about that? I suspected this silly girl really had a problem with her brain. Seeing me give her a look like she was mentally challenged, Ashley immediately became unhappy. Hey, what's with that look? Do you know who this complainer is? I felt that no matter who it was, it couldn't be that funny. There were only so many devil fruits. Not getting one was normal. Right after, Ashley laughed loudly and said a name. I was instantly stunned. Oh my God. I burst out laughing too. It was indeed hilarious. That old scoundrel Oda must be furious. You don't know, this post is going viral in the divine dimension now. Someone even wants Oda to teach them Haki. As a result, Oda said, I'm just a humble artist. What the hell do I know about Haki, huh? Thinking back, in my past life, it seemed Oda really didn't make a name for himself. Although the divine dimension used the events from his pen, it was no longer related to the original author. Seeing that it was getting dark, I planned to park the car on the side of the road and rest for the night. Just as I turned a corner at the foot of a mountain, I suddenly saw some light ahead. Light meant people. But in the apocalypse, other people were the most untrustworthy things. Was I supposed to kill the owner of the house just to have a safe place to stay? Although I was brutal, I wasn't so far gone as to attack innocent people. I parked the car on the side of the road, borrowing some of the light from there, intending to just spend the night here. Ashley took out a set of camping gear from the back of the car and set up a large tent on the spot. Although the apocalypse was dangerous, under my careful care, Ashley was not afraid but rather felt a sense of excitement. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching roar echoed. I jumped to my feet. What's wrong? Seeing me suddenly stand up, Ashley also became nervous. She drew her long knife and carefully looked around. It's a lion's roar. My expression was serious as I held the baseball bat in my hand. My eyes looked towards the source of the light in the distance. The roar came from there. Ashley didn't understand what a lion's roar was. A lion's roar is the angry roar of a zombie. But have you ever heard a zombie roar? Reminded by me. Ashley was startled to realize that although she had killed many zombies, she had never heard them make a sound. A zombie's body, even its vocal cords, had rotted, so they couldn't make a sound. But over time, as zombies evolved, their bodies would gradually recover and regain basic functions, such as speaking. But to be able to make a sound, it had to be at least a 1-star zombie. A 1-star zombie. Ashley still didn't know about the ranking of zombies. The zombies that had just appeared were only level 5 zombies. Besides being a little stronger and having harder bones, they were not difficult to deal with. Even ordinary people had a chance to kill them. When their bodies were fully restored with flesh and blood, their speed would be faster, and they could also perform combat movements like humans. At this time, they were 1-star zombies, also known as flesh corpses. To deal with a flesh corpse, one had to at least reach the bronze skin realm. It's no longer safe here, I said to Ashley. You go back to the car. I'll go check things out ahead. If it's just a flesh corpse, I can handle it. But if it's a 2-star zombie, we'll be in danger. Right now, I'm only at the bronze skin realm. To deal with a higher level zombie, I need to reach the iron bone realm. But the apocalypse has only just begun for 5 or 6 days. Zombies shouldn't be evolving so fast. After putting Ashley in the armored car, I transformed, took my iron bat, and walked towards the source of the roar. As I got closer, I discovered that the source of the light was a dilapidated martial arts hall. The Thunder Ancestor Taoist temple was hidden deep in the mountains and was so run down. It definitely wasn't a commercialized one. This was where a real Taoist priest would be. Just then, a man's terrified scream rang out, followed by the clatter of pots and pans falling. The door suddenly opened, and a bald-headed man rushed out of the Taoist temple in a panic. Help, even though he knew no one would come to save him deep in the mountains. He screamed desperately. As a result, as soon as he ran out of the gate, he saw a dragon man holding an iron bat walking towards him. In the dark night, he was so scared he sat down on the ground, the fear of monsters overwhelming him. He didn't even think that this was an ability user who had eaten the Azure Dragon Fruit. His mind instantly collapsed. He was so scared he peed his pants, and a foul smell rose. He giggled foolishly. I frowned. Such a big, bald man, yet so mentally weak. I was just about to step into the Taoist temple when the dilapidated wall of the main hall collapsed with a loud bang. An old man with dark skin, wearing Taoist robes, was frantically tearing apart a man on the ground. There were also several mangled corpses on the ground. The old Taoist priest heard the noise and turned his head. The moment our eyes met, I thought to myself, this is not good. Not a normal flesh corpse, but a jiangshi. The old Taoist priest, even while eating, stretched out his arms and legs. His dry hands were covered with sharp claws. His mouth had four fangs dripping with blood. This was clearly the characteristic of a jiangshi. A jiangshi was a more evolved form of a flesh corpse. They used a large amount of Z virus to strengthen their bodies. As a result, the virus accumulated in their bodies in an undigested state. The accumulated virus made the jiangshi's body stiff, but it also created an incredibly tough body of bronze skin and iron flesh, extremely difficult to kill. Fortunately, their fatal weakness was still their head. As long as the head was cut off or smashed, they could still be killed, but I cursed inwardly. This remote place with few people, where did it get so many Z viruses to purify? The jiangshi, the old Taoist priest, had already thrown away the half-eaten corpse in his hand. It leaped up and rushed towards me. Although the jiangshi's body was stiff, this leap brought it right in front of me in an instant. I hurriedly raised my baseball bat to block. The jiangshi bit down on the bat, leaving for deep teeth marks. I opened my mouth and spat a stream of hot breath at the jiangshi's face, but it only burned its hair and clothes. Its flesh, though slightly scorched, was unharmed. The old Taoist jiangshi roared and lunged again with its sharp claws. Thunder Bagua, although there was no haki, the baseball bat wrapped in lightning did have some of the power of a thunder bagua. There was a loud bang, followed by a soft crack. This jiangshi's skull was as hard as steel. The custom-made, thicker and heavier baseball bat broke in two, and the only result was a small crack on its skull. The scarred old Taoist zombie roared again, its foul-smelling fangs aiming for my neck. I immediately retreated, simultaneously spitting out another stream of hot breath and lightning, temporarily blocking the zombie. Ashley heard the fighting and hurried down from the armored car. This was the first time she had seen me being attacked by a monster. Ashley, go underground. Wait for me to kill it before you come out. I originally thought it was just a normal flesh corpse, but I didn't expect it to be a 2-star zombie. This kind of zombie had monstrous strength, bronze skin, and iron bones. The armored cars of human civilization could no longer defend against them. Ashley also knew she couldn't help, so she transformed into a horde rat and quickly burrowed into the ground. At this moment, I was a little out of breath, using heat breath twice in a row, along with releasing a large amount of lightning, had consumed a lot of my stamina. Moreover, the last blow had also made my blood boil. The old Taoist zombie leaped again, quickly closing the distance with me. Its 10 gray fingernails were like 10 sharp blades stabbing towards me. I roared, and a pair of dragon claws grabbed the zombie's wrists. The two began to struggle. Although the zombie had reached to stars, and theoretically needed someone with an iron bone physique to resist it, I, relying on my Azure Dragon enhanced body, was able to confront the zombie for a moment. As the two struggled, the zombie craned its head and bit down. I quickly ducked my head and used the dragon horns on my head to stab at the zombie's forehead. The dragon horns were quite sharp, and with my full strength, I directly blinded one of the zombie's eyes. The horn even penetrated deep into its brain. If it were a normal creature, this blow would have been fatal, but zombies had no sense of pain. It threw its head back, pulling its head off the dragon horn. Immediately after, it roared in anger, its two arms slightly bent again. I was startled. The reason a zombie's body was stiff was because of the Z-virus accumulated in its body. When it completely absorbed and fused all the Z-virus, its body would become flexible again. Now, this zombie's two arms had slightly bent, which meant it was accelerating the process of absorbing and fusing the Z-virus. I can't keep struggling like this. I roared and threw off the zombie's two arms. I transformed into an azure dragon and soared into the sky. My dragon tail immediately whipped down. The whip made the zombie stumble. A bolt of lightning struck down, making its body even more charred and deformed. Countless wind blades spewed from the dragon's mouth. Even with the zombie's bronze skin and iron bones, it was torn into countless pieces of flesh. Amidst the swirling wind and clouds, the azure dragon swooped down, its two dragon claws grabbing the zombie's two arms, lifting it into the air. The zombie, blown by the strong wind, couldn't stand firm and couldn't exert any strength. It was directly pulled into the sky by the azure dragon. I roared, and my dragon claws used force, wanting to tear the zombie in two. But the zombie was also struggling against me, and I couldn't tear it apart. My realm was still too low. Although transforming into an azure dragon could suppress the zombie, it was not easy to kill it, and I couldn't maintain this state for long. I felt like I had just survived a catastrophe. If I only used my dragon form to fly, I could last longer, but fighting couldn't be sustained. I once again soared into the sky, gripping the Jiangshi with my dragon claws, and then threw it down with all my might. With a loud bang, the Jiangshi's heavy body fell, crashing into the main hall, right on top of the tall statue of the deity worshipped inside. But how could a clay statue withstand the Jiangshi? Its hard body directly shattered the statue into countless pieces. The Jiangshi rolled on the ground, its indestructible body now dented and pitted. I followed it down, landing on the ground and transforming back into my human form. I panted heavily. This was the first time I had fought with all my might in my azure dragon form. It was indeed very powerful, but for me now, it was still too much. Kaido's strength came from his own power. He was an existence that could destroy a country by himself. The Azure Dragon Fruit was just the icing on the cake. As for me, I relied entirely on the Azure Dragon Fruit, so the power I could exert was naturally worlds apart. "Brother, eat some meat." Just as I was panting, Ashley suddenly popped up from the ground and handed me a piece of Sea King meat. I took the meat and chewed it greedily. Ashley was also very considerate and dived back into the ground, not wanting to be a burden. My stamina had recovered somewhat, and the old Taoist Jiangshi had also flipped over and stood up. I once again transformed into my beast-man form, covering my dragon claws with armament haki to fight the Jiangshi. The double defense of armament haki and dragon scales could effectively prevent the Z-virus from invading. But if I kept fighting like this, I would still be dragged to my death. I need a weapon. After another confrontation, I quickly retreated. But at this time, it was too late to enter the divine dimension to exchange for a weapon. Ashley didn't have enough points either. Just as I was thinking of a solution, the corner of my eye saw an iron rod fall next to the fragments of the statue. I suddenly remembered this was the Thunder Ancestor Temple. The segmented iron rod was the steel whip held by the statue of the Thunder Ancestor, worshipped in the Taoist temple. This should at least be stronger than a baseball bat, right? I rushed over and picked up the segmented steel whip from the ground. Because the statue was very tall, the steel whip was also bigger and longer than normal whip-type weapons. The length was usually no more than 80 centimeters, but this one was 1.2 meters long. The body of the whip was also thicker. It was heavy, but with my current strength, it was just right. Just as I picked up this segmented steel whip, the old Taoist zombie rushed over again. Its body was tattered, but its attack was still extremely fast and powerful. I exhausted my last bit of strength, releasing the most violent current. Lightning and armament haki wrapped around the segmented steel whip. I swung it down hard on the old Taoist zombie's head. The huge recoil force shattered the dragon scales on my palm. But the old Taoist zombie's head was also smashed in this blow. The violent current flowed in along with the zombie's blood and flesh. The foul smell of burnt zombie meat wafted up. After delivering this full-force blow, I exited my beast man form. I couldn't hold the heavy segmented steel whip anymore, so I had to drop it. My whole body was aching and exhausted. Ashley, who was underground, heard the fighting stop. She carefully appeared from a distance. When she saw me sitting on the ground panting, she hurried over, bringing me meat and soda. After resting for a while, we entered the dilapidated Taoist temple to check the situation inside. The bald man we saw at the beginning had died in the aftershock of the battle. Inside the Taoist temple were shattered statues, broken furniture, and mangled corpses. The back hall was where the old Taoist priest used to live. When the main hall collapsed, only this place remained intact. It should be safe here. Let's rest here for today. I drove the armored car to the gate, blocking the main entrance to prevent others or zombies from entering. I brought a chair out and sat in the courtyard, looking up at the night sky. Suddenly my heart stirred, and my mind entered the divine dimension. As soon as I arrived, I heard that majestic and imposing voice again. As you are the first person to kill a star-level zombie, you will receive a reward. Again, as you killed a star-level zombie within 10 days of the apocalypse's start, the reward will be upgraded. Again, as you directly killed a 2-star zombie, the reward will be upgraded again. Please choose one of the following 3 titles. A title. I was immediately invigorated, just like the first time I chose a talent. A title was an extremely rare and hard to come by thing. At least in my past life, I had tried for a long time, but had never gotten one. Title 1, Zombie Slayer. Damage dealt to zombies permanently increased by double. Title 2, Bounty Hunter. Points received for killing zombies permanently increased by double. Title 3, Divine Member. Become a noble member of the Divine Dimension. You will have one opportunity to exchange for an item at a 90% discount. Furthermore, when you exchange for items in the Divine Dimension, you will receive a 20% discount on everything. Oh my god, these 3 titles were still so tempting, compared to killing faster and earning more. Killing faster was still a bit better, because if you killed faster, you would naturally earn more. Moreover, you could challenge stronger zombies. But neither of these 2 was as good as Title 3, Divine Member. With a 90% discount opportunity and a permanent 20% discount, the only 2 exchange options were the Black Hidden Bloodline Factor and the Membranizing Potion. That removed the side effects of devil fruits. Both required 100 million points. A 90% discount meant I only needed 10 million points to exchange for one. Moreover, I could get a 20% discount on anything I exchanged for. I could totally use this privilege to act as a middleman and earn countless points. There was no need to hesitate at all. I directly chose Title 3, Divine Member. Then I checked my personal information panel. Name, Austin Au. Talent, Haki Genius. Title, Divine Member. Devil Fruit, Azure Dragon Form. Realm, Bronze Skin. Equipment, Thunder Ancestor's Whip. Points, 965. I suddenly realized there was something in the equipment section. Thunder Ancestor's Whip. I looked at the segmented steel whip next to me. It was the object in the hand of the Thunder Ancestor worshipped in the Thunder Ancestor Taoist Temple. But this was just an ordinary object. Why was it counted as equipment? And it even had the word ancestor in it. My previous baseball bat had helped me take down so many zombies, but it wasn't considered equipment. I placed the bamboo whip on my lap and carefully observed it to see what was so special about it. I saw that the steel whip was full of rust, as if it had gone through countless years. Perhaps it was once admired by thousands of people. It had a total of 18 segments, and each segment was engraved with Taoist talismans that I didn't understand. I looked at it for a long time, but still couldn't see anything special about it. But using this to beat the old Taoist Jiangshi before was indeed very effective. My points were almost at 10,000. Should I appraise Ashley's devil fruit? I rubbed my chin and thought. The appraisal fee for a devil fruit was 1,000 points once. For me, it didn't seem like much, but there was no rush. I didn't need to use that devil fruit now. I could wait until I got back to decide. After making my choice, I entered the Divine Dimension again. This time, I entered the communication channel in the family group one had created myself. I first reported my safety to my parents, and then asked about the recent situation at home. Something big had indeed happened at home today. The Chen family, father and son, from upstairs knew that my family had stored food. At that time, only my mother and Jade Liu were at home. My father and Marcus Meng were fighting zombies downstairs. At first, my mother kindly intended to give them some, but as a result, after seeing my house full of living supplies, the father and son's eyes turned red. Plus, with Jade Liu's beauty, the two of them wanted to attack my mother, steal her supplies, and the beautiful woman. Fortunately, Jade Liu had been on guard. Moreover, after training her haki, although she hadn't fully awakened it, her physique had been significantly improved, so when the two of them attacked, she quickly took them down. At that time, my mother was scared out of her wits, although she had also killed a few zombies. This was the first time she had witnessed a murder. Hearing this, a wave of anger rose in my heart. But since the two of them had already been dealt with by Jade Liu, so be it. Oh, right. I remember Mr. Chen also has a wife and a daughter. They are all neighbors. I also know the situation of the Chen family well. Boss, I've already taken care of them. Marcus Meng spoke up at this time. When he learned that Helen Zhang had been attacked, he was startled. He had promised me, the boss, that he would not let my parents be harmed. So, in a fit of anger, he kicked open the door of the Chen family's apartment upstairs and took care of the two women inside. Marcus Meng's decisiveness and ruthlessness surprised me. He was different from me. He had never experienced the cruelty of the apocalypse, yet he could act so decisively. Well done. I didn't say thank you, but only praised him. I understood what a survivor in the apocalypse should do. Boss, I've checked. Besides our family, there are no other living people in this building. Tomorrow, I plan to find some building materials to seal the staircase and add some defensive fortifications. Be careful. I agreed with Marcus Meng's idea. At this point, I asked about their family situations. Marcus Meng's mother's health was not good. After the Z virus broke out, she was in a coma, and he took her to the hospital. As a result, when the apocalypse broke out, a zombie killed his father right there. Marcus Meng fled in a panic, driving his car as if he wanted to escape the city. So, he was loyal to me and came to Biancheng without any attachments. Jade Liu was different. She had a rural household registration and relied on scholarships to get into university. She was very smart and knew how to use her advantages to get money from men, but always kept them from getting her. She worked hard to save money to buy a house, but her parents came to demand it, saying it was for her younger brother's wedding. She didn't agree, so her father beat her and cursed her for being shameless, saying that if she didn't do indecent things, how could she buy a house at such a young age? It was speechless. The house deed was forcibly taken away, and her parents forced her to transfer the ownership to her younger brother. As a result, when she was being dragged to transfer the property, the apocalypse broke out. She took advantage of the chaos to escape. The current situation of her parents and younger brother was unknown. Of course, she didn't care about their life or death now. I have already severed ties with them. Whether they live or die has nothing to do with me anymore. Jade Liu said calmly, her tone making me speechless. From now on, I am only Master's person and will do anything for you. Hearing her words, I couldn't help but sigh. The apocalypse was truly heartless. If they hadn't met me, they might have died on the road. In the apocalypse, staying at home had a much higher survival rate than running out of the city. Do good work. I will not treat you unfairly. Then I told them what I had seen on the road, recounting it to them and telling them to be careful of the evolved zombies. After ending the call, I chatted with Ashley for a while, then looked through the divine dimension to see if there was any new news on the communication channel. Then I fell into a deep sleep. Outside the Taoist temple, a small figure quietly appeared, walking to the side of the old Taoist Jiangshi. His small talisman was covered in dust. He murmured softly, "Master," then kodoed 3 times to the old Taoist Jiangshi's corpse. Then he rushed deep into the mountains and disappeared. The next morning, we got in the car and left this dilapidated Taoist temple. The only change was that the custom-made baseball bat in my hand had been replaced by a large, long segmented steel whip. In the passenger seat, Ashley rubbed her sleepy eyes and yawned, used to sleeping in. She hadn't fully adapted to the rhythm of life in the apocalypse. At this time, in Yuzhou City, both sides had gathered most of the zombies in one place. Countless heavy weapons suddenly exploded, the roar shaking the sky, even more intense than before. Countless zombies were blown to pieces, but as long as their heads were intact, they would grab the surrounding pieces of their comrades' corpses and stuff them into their mouths to chew, and swallow. The military had also discovered that just killing zombies was not enough. Blowing up their heads was just for other zombies to devour. So, after research and decision-making, flamethrowers were put into use. After several rounds of shelling, warriors in protective suits holding flamethrowers began to advance. The air temperature rose higher and higher, in the microscopic world invisible to the naked eye. The Z-virus was undergoing intense changes. They split, combined, and became stronger. Finally, a zombie with no rotten flesh, covered in necrotic spots and acting swiftly, rushed out of the pile of corpses. The flames burned its body but couldn't immediately incinerate it. With a crack, it bit through the protective layer of the protective suit. More and more zombies were refined into flesh corpses. Their defense was stronger, their strength was greater, and their speed was also faster. Even bullets couldn't immediately take them down. Sniper rifles that could blow people to pieces only created a large hole when they hit a flesh corpse, affecting them insignificantly. But the military could still barely resist them with powerful firearms. The rising temperature tempered a jiangshi. This jiangshi rampaged through the army as if it were an unguarded place. The warriors, in order to quickly kill the zombies, did not engage them in close combat, but only relied on firearms to attack. Therefore, they did not have accumulation points, could not exchange for haki, and had no strength to cultivate. More and more people were infected, and this scene was happening in major cities and countries all over the world. The zombie crisis that the military could not suppress became the last straw. The little order that could still be barely maintained completely collapsed. This news spread like wildfire in the divine dimension. Until this moment, people truly believed that civilization no longer existed, that the apocalypse was unstoppable. At the same time, I drove on the mountain road for another 3 days. The mountains were very quiet, except for the zombies we encountered at the Taoist temple. We only occasionally encountered a few small animals that had been mutated into zombies, but they were not strong and were easily dealt with by Ashley. Suddenly, Ashley's ears perked up, and she said loudly, "I sense it, right ahead." I immediately sobered up. Following the path Ashley pointed, we headed towards the destination. But many places in the mountains had not been developed, and we quickly reached a place where the car could no longer go. Helplessly, I had to temporarily lock the car on the side of the road, and the two of us continued on foot. On the mountainside, a skinny young man was smoking there. Suddenly, he looked down and saw a car coming. He picked up the binoculars hanging around his neck and looked in that direction. "It's still an off-road vehicle. That's good." After confirming, he immediately ran back. Not far away, there was a tile-roofed house on the mountainside. Two people came down. "They're driving an off-road vehicle. There must be a lot of supplies in it. And there's also a woman." When it came to supplies, the few people playing cards' eyes lit up. But when it came to women, they immediately stood up excitedly and laughed. "There's a woman. I've been so frustrated these past few days. Let's go, brothers, we're getting some relief today." With a bang, a few people picked up clubs, firewood axes, and other things and followed Skinny Monkey down the mountain. "Brother Faye, I've been wandering around here these past few days and found a little deer. When we go down the mountain, we can definitely block them in front." Skinny Monkey was also very excited. The boring life of the apocalypse finally had some fun. At the foot of the mountain, Ashley and I had circled the mountain several times before we reached the place I was looking for. A large area of special plants grew here. Walking in, Ashley bent down and pulled up a special plant. At its root, a strange fruit grew, with a peculiar shape and strange spiral patterns. It was a devil fruit. "Great, I found another one." Ashley jumped up in excitement. This was all thanks to her. On the mountainside next to them, the 4 young men who had just come down saw the devil fruit in Ashley's hand. Their eyes wide with astonishment. "Brother Faye, is that a devil fruit?" Skinny Monkey's voice trembled with excitement. Brother Faye slapped him on the head. "Nonsense." He was also very excited. It was a devil fruit. Once he ate a devil fruit, he would rule a region with countless followers. He could have any kind of woman he wanted. While dreaming, he hurriedly shouted at Ashley, "Hey, put that fruit down." Ashley, who was excited, was startled by him because she was too focused on the devil fruit. She didn't notice the people who had just arrived. When she turned around, the eyes of those people were also glued to her. What a beautiful girl. Brother Faye and his gang felt that they could only see such a beautiful girl online. Looking at her face, still with a hint of innocence, they knew this girl was probably still in high school. Brother Faye swallowed hard, unconsciously. Today was truly his lucky day. Not only could he get a devil fruit, but this beautiful girl had also delivered herself to his door. He smiled lewdly and walked over, completely ignoring me. He said arrogantly to Ashley, "Give that fruit to me. From now on, you belong to Brother Faye. Follow me, and I guarantee you'll eat well and dress well." Faced with the young man's arrogant attitude, Ashley frowned her delicate eyebrows. "Who are you? On what grounds should I give it to you?" As for me, I stood on the side without saying anything. I had observation haki. I had sensed these guys as soon as they appeared. But this time, I wanted to train Ashley a bit. "These guys are yours. Kill them." Ashley was startled. She still didn't dare to kill people now. I said calmly, "If you were still an ordinary girl like before, what would be your fate if you fell into the hands of these people? You can't bear it. Do you think they would? In peaceful times, they were the dregs of society. In the apocalypse, they are even more the scum of the world. This kind of person deserves to die. What's more, they bullied you. What are you waiting for?" I roared, which also startled the young men. After coming to their senses, they cursed angrily. "Fuck, I'll deal with you first." The guys took turns picking up their makeshift weapons and rushed to attack me. I sighed and looked at where they were aiming. They clearly wanted to beat me to death. Seeing this, Ashley got angry. She cursed, "You dare touch my brother, you want to die." She reached into her chest, putting the devil fruit into her storage space while pulling out her knife. The blade flashed with a cold light. The blade swept across Skinny Monkey's throat, and his head flew off. This was swordplay honed through battles with zombies. Skinny Monkey's head fell to the ground. Brother Faye and the others all showed expressions of horror. They had never thought that a girl who looked so weak and fragile could kill someone so decisively and ruthlessly. One strike to kill. To them, this was a legend. But at this point, they were already into deep. Brother Faye gritted his teeth and made up his mind, cursing, "You shameless bitch. You refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Let's see how I deal with you later." When Ashley beheaded Skinny Monkey, she no longer felt the tension of killing. The swordplay trained from previous battles with zombies, combined with her enhanced body, made it too easy to deal with these ordinary thugs. I just stood on the side and observed the battle. This girl's combat skills were still rough, but considering she hadn't been practicing for long, it was already very good. The blade was blocked. A young man with a tattooed face swung his knife at Ashley. Ashley leaned over and immediately moved to his side. One slash, and another head rolled. After another person died, the remaining two were even more terrified. The blade flashed continuously, and in just a few seconds, another head rolled. Ah-Fei was so scared his legs trembled. He threw away the axe in his hand, knelt on the ground, and began to beg for mercy. "Sorry, please spare me, big brother, big sister, I was wrong. Just treat me like a fart and let me go." The opponent threw down his weapon and begged for mercy. This made Ashley, who had just committed murder, a little